It's Swift.
I know, what a way to start your Sunday. I think what day it was then. Sunday, isn't it?
Sunday.
Yeah, what a way to start your Sunday. What a way to start the final SIBC.
Pallid Swift, yeah. So they're very much like our Swifts. In fact, they're quite difficult to tell apart from our Swifts, to be quite honest with you. But they are a little bit more pallid, and so they're paler, and they've got a pale throat. But you get them in the UK from time to time.
Yeah,
and people
they appear,
do pick them out.
They do appear.
But they're principally a Mediterranean species. So they still migrate southwards into Africa like other swifts, but they return to principally the Mediterranean. That nest is in Spain, and the camera is organised by the Sociedad Española de Ornitológica.
That was good.
That's not bad.
That was good.
Yeah, Spanish bird life.
Yeah, that's better.
Spanish bird life. That's easy. And of course, you can follow it online. So just like our swifts, they return to nest in those eaves. That's an eave in a school.
That is at a school, and apparently during the daytime you can hear all the children out playing in the playground with the swifts up there, which is lovely, isn't it? It's a great way for children to interact with birds, you know, when they come and nest in school. It's fantastic. What I think to be able to, oh look at that little face.
I know, remarkable birds. Of course, so spend most of their life on the wing, mate on the wing, drink on the wing. Sometimes when they fledge, they don't land for like more than a year. It's almost 2 years.
2 years.
So they're flying because they don't breed in their first year. So they spend all of that time on the wing, and only do they land again when they eventually get back and find themselves a nesting spot. Generally, they don't breed successfully the first time. They come back, and we call them bangers. Do you know that?
I didn't know we called them bangers.
No, because when they go up to the eaves, well, common swifts are not pallid, but when they go up to the eaves and they're trying to find a gap which is unoccupied by other swifts, and they bang into the eaves, and of course they're quite aggressive, those that already have the nesting spot, and they'll be driving them away. Yeah, so that sometimes you'll see that, and these are the young birds that are trying to get into those buildings, and of course many contemporary buildings don't have suitable.
But why does that mean bangers?
Well, because they bang and make a banging sound as they fly into the eaves.
Oh, that doesn't sound very nice.
No, it's okay.
They're all right, aren't they?
It's fine. And but of course, many contemporary buildings don't have those holes under the eaves, and our swifts, common swifts, are really struggling. So you can get swift boxes. You can put them up. They work. They work even better if in the springtime you put up a loudspeaker, waterproof loudspeaker outside, and you play swift calls through it.
Yeah, that works. Well, you did try that.
I did try,
and it failed miserably. Not one swift.
It wasn't miserably. No. I failed. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a miserable failure.
Well, they didn't come.
No, I know they didn't come.
There ever, I don't think. No,
do you know what? No, listen, they're there now this year.
No, they're not.
No, I'm not making this up. Linda told me the other day that she'd gone round to the farm. We moved recently where I'd been trying this to get them to settle. She went round and they were there. I'm telling you the truth. I forgot to tell you that.
I don't believe you. I have to go and see it for myself.
It's true. Anyway, look, swifts need our help. They're fabulous birds which are in decline. Do keep your eyes glued to those pallid swifts there in southern Spain. What a fantastic nest.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had some really great nest cams, haven't we, over the last year?
Latvian Fun for Nature.
They were on recently.
New Zealand. We've gone over to New Zealand. Yeah. Seeing the penguins. That was one of my favourite ones, I have to say. Yeah. But obviously, Birds of Poole Harbour, which we'll be hearing more about very, very soon.
What have we got coming up, Liz? Tell everyone what we've got.
We've got a jam-packed show for you. We are going out with a very big bang. We've got the most incredible update from Matt Moran. Now, you'll remember Matt because he gives us updates about his urban foxes living next to him in London. And he's been out over the course of a year following the story of one vixen and her cubs last year and where they've been this year. So we've got an update from Matt. And I have to say,
it's pretty good.
It's an amazing film. It really is, beautifully shot, beautifully presented by Matt. So we're very excited to share that. We've got the wonderful Indy Green. Now, of course, he's a SIBC legend, really, isn't he? He's a fantastic young naturalist.
We've had loads of great young naturalists.
Loads of great young naturalists.
Loads of them have been on over the year. Really, really good to to see all of their skills, and they've got lots of skills, lots of enthusiasm and abilities and energy, and they're doing great things out there. So it's been a real privilege to be working with those.
Lots of young people. We had Greenfinger George, Dara McNaughty, Maya Brambrick. Got loads. Kabir Cool. Loads of you. So thank you so much to all the young people out there. But we're very excited to be showcasing some more of Indy's work later on in the broadcast, and of course, we couldn't have the final show, could we, without the one and only Lindsey Chapman. So she's going to be joining us to tell us a little bit about what you guys have been up to, all the videos and photos that you've been sending in over the last week, and what you've been kind of getting up to. So we're very excited about that, and of course, exciting Osprey update. I can't get my words out this morning. Osprey update. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, Paul Morton from Birds of Poole Harbour is going to be joining us a bit later to tell us what's going on down in Poole Harbour. We were following that last year. The trials and tribulations of female osprey have come back.
CJ7 stole the hearts of the nation. Yeah. Well, SIBC anyway, stole the hearts of SIBC. Yeah. But lots of you have been tuning in this morning. Thank you so much again for spending your Sunday with us. Lots of people saying hello. So we've got Simon, David, Trevor, Joan, Richard, Penny, Mike, who is currently looking after 4 chickens. No. Hello, Mike, and your chickens. I hope your chickens
don't lose sight of them during the course of the next hour.
Keep an eye on this. We've got Sarah from Belfast, Anne in Orkney. We've got Valerie, Trish in Dunton. We've got Chris and Sarah from Vermont.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And also Simon Watts Wild Presentations, who's always commenting and always supporting us. So nice to see you all.
Yeah. Now, the keen-sighted amongst you might have noticed this. Now, we've got a little badge here. We've got SIBC badges.
We've got SIBC badges.
Yeah, look, here they are. We've got the logo that we've got, our puffin with its yellow background. I don't know if I can see that. If you can see that, I'll hold that up there like that. So we've got these, and if you would like a memento of the SIBC club and your time in it, we've had a few of these produced, and we're going to be selling them. So you can send us a very small amount of money. I think they're about £3.20, £3.20, and we'll give you the details for that, of course, a bit later on. And you can get yourself an SIBC badge as a memento of the last year.
All you have to do is go to the website sibird.club/pin badge. So sibird.club/pin badge. Now all of them will be dispatched in the first few weeks of June. So we'll wait for all of those orders to come in, and then we'll be sending them out to you all. And they're great, actually. They're quite funky little things, aren't they?
Yeah, loads of people connect these.
Yours is matching.
Yeah, I know, of course. Well, it's with me. It's no accident, is it? Obviously, I chose the top to match the badge. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I didn't get the memo.
You know what I'm like. Also, although this is our final broadcast this morning, we would very much like to stay in touch with you all. We have other projects in the offing, and if you'd like to find out about those, then you can sign up to our mailing list. And to do that, you would need to go. What's the address for that?
peopleforwild.life.
Yeah. peopleforwild.life. So if you go there, you can sign up, and we'll let you know what we're up to in the future. Plenty of ideas.
It helps us keep the community together, keep you up to date, because there's going to be so many campaigns and so many, celebratory projects that we'd love for you to get involved in. So stay involved in the conversation, stay involved in the community. So please go to peopleforwild.life.
I'll pick this a bit. We started this over a year ago now by looking at the common garden plants that we found in our garden, common woodland plants that we found growing in our garden. I never did this one. This is one which is really, really beautiful at this time of year. You get swathes of it down those verges, which aren't inadvertently mown by local councils. It's called cow parsley. I'll just hold up there, and you can see the flowers. It's a member of the umbelliferae family. So there are a whole group of these plants. This one is a perennial, sometimes a biennial, sometimes a biennial, meaning that the plant has 2 years of growth. The first year it produces quite a lot of leaves, it gathers some energy. The second year it uses that energy, which it's stored over the winter, to put into flowering, producing seeds, and then the process starts again. It can also be perennial, meaning it goes on for more than 2 years. It's got these sort of tripinnate leaves here, which you can see. But it's got a number of other names. Some people call it wild chervil. Chervil is, of course, a herb, and that's because you can eat it, although I'm very definitely going to advise you not to eat it, because it's quite difficult to tell apart from a couple of other species which are potentially dangerous. One very dangerous, hemlock, which looks quite like this. Hemlock, of course, is famous because Socrates drank it in a warm bath, in order to commit suicide when he was encouraged to do so in ancient Greek times. So you don't want to be eating any hemlock. And there's another plant called fool's parsley. If you were to, be really confident of your identification skills, it tastes a little bit like licorice and aniseed.
Does it?
Yeah. When it's grown to maturity, you can actually snap off these like this at the end, and then they grow sufficiently broad to have a diameter where you can turn them into a pea shooter. And lots of kids, when they, before they had devices to play on, used to make pea shooters. Although I have to say that
it's going to be kids watching that are just going to start going.
But that's the end of the year. That's not now. That's the end of the year. And also probably peas are a bit, as a projectile, as a missile. Peas might be a bit big. You might want to try lentils. And then lastly, because we always used to go on about the lore of these plants, it does have a rather, sometimes it was called dead man's flesh. And on other occasions, it was called Mother Die. And that was because when people brought it into the house, the mother of the house would throw it out. And it was probably got that name because it was associated with people eating it incorrectly and consuming false parsley or hemlock. So in order to stop people bringing it into the house where it could be mistakenly consumed, it got this local name of called either Mother's Dead or Mother Die, which is
that's cheery.
It's quite morbid, but it stopped people from eating it, and as a consequence, that was a help. So that was the old name for cow parsley. I like it because it provides lots of nectar for flies. Loads of flies love this. Yeah, and hoverflies, syrphids. There we are. So we'll finish off with the last plant in our.
That brings you back because we used to talk about plants all the time. In the
I know that. So it started with celandines and wooden anemones and primroses.
Yeah, we did all of them, didn't we?
Fritillaries and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, what else?
I think it's important that we say where we are because we're in a different location. Yeah. We're in Norfolk. Well, no, we're in Suffolk. We're on the border between Norfolk and Suffolk. We're at a place called Wakelands Farm, which I have to say is one of the most amazing places. We've been learning all about agroforestry yesterday.
Yeah. Top birds. Yeah.
Yesterday. Well, you saw a turtle dove.
I saw two this morning, actually.
Did you?
Of course.
You didn't tell me that.
Sorry, I just went out this morning, had a look around. 2 turtle doves, and last night we had barn owl.
We did have a barn owl. We had that was a great sight actually of a barn owl.
Lots of garden warblers here, lesser whitethroat, and the food's been sensational. So if you are thinking about a weekend away,
the bread,
top birding, top eating,
so good,
and the educational exercise, because agroforestry has been a real insight into the way that we might be improving parts of our farm landscape, which is what we came here to find out a little bit about. Then Wakelands is the place to check out.
Yeah, it's really good. It's an interesting way of how farming can be done differently and sustainably and organic. It's brilliant. It's a really cool place. But that barn owl sighting was great. But we're not the only people that have been out seeing owls. No, we haven't. So we've been, of course, checking up on our SIBC Facebook group, and we've got this photo. This was from Toby Carter this is from Twitter actually, of a tawny owl.
Oh yes!
Look at that.
It's a youngster that's fledged.
It's a fledged one. Yeah, it fledged the day before he took this near Bangor in the evening sun.
Actually, I've just said something wrong. I've said it's fledged, and that in technically means that it's flown.
No, it's semi-fledged. It's semi-fledged.
It's branching. It's what the falconers used to call it.
Well, that's true, because owls, of course, at this time of year, the chicks are getting rather large. Even the one that we had, the nest that you've got in your garden, that female is being pushed out because the chicks are so big.
It's sat on the edge of the box.
So basically, those chicks will eventually kind of hop out. They won't fly, but they'll sit on a branch, next to that nest, so they can still be provisioned by the parents, but they'll be there for a little while. But that's a lovely sight, little fluffy tawny.
Then we were on Twitter this morning, we spotted this, as many of you might have done. So this is at Conwy, and this is a nightjar, but look where it's chosen to sit. I mean, of all the places to sit, it's sat on the back of a plastic heron.
Yeah, I mean, of all the perches, why not? It seems like quite cozy.
It's
I saw my first nightjar the other day, flew over my car.
Sean McCormack spotted that.
What a great sight.
Yeah, in terms of an incongruous perch, that's going to take some beating, actually. Sean, well done.
Funny. That is a good one. We've also got this. This is from David Caulfield on Twitter, and a couple of videos. This is from a trip to Top Hill Low. Marsh frogs.
Look at that. Sensational, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look at those float sacks expanding like a couple of balloons. And they make quite a lot of noise as well.
Oh, the noise that can carry just goes on kilometers, isn't it? It's incredible for such a small animal.
And nocturnal as well.
Yeah.
So they make a enormous racket at night, but part and parcel of that landscape. And I remember when we were in France, we had them in the broken swimming pool.
Oh yeah. Oh, you stayed up all, you could not get to sleep. No. Honestly, those frogs.
They would go, wouldn't they?
Do you know what I feel like? Those, the expanding. It's like me after eating all the bread at Wakelands over this weekend.
Except that won't be your cheeks. That'd be your tummy.
It's already happening. And then of course our good friend Paul Goldstein's been out and about taking photos, and he got this fantastic one of these swans.
Oh yes,
very sweet, isn't it? Cygnets. You can't beat some cygnets. They're very cute.
Yeah, plenty of those about at the moment. Lots of people sending them in.
Yeah,
pictures of their cygnets as well on the back of the mute swan there. Look at that.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yep.
I had a great experience on Tuesday night. I will honestly hold my hands up and say it's one of the best wildlife experiences I have ever had in the UK. I was filming this morning for ITV, and we were filming an experience called Singing with Nightingales, which is run by folk singer and I have to say brilliant conservationist, actually, Sam Lee.
Sam Lee's
He's been on the SIBC before. He's an absolute hero of ours. So I went to experience seeing the nightingales, which is, I've wanted to do that for years.
Yeah, and anyone can do it. You can book up. It's largely booked up this year, I think.
Yeah,
it might be, people dropping out, so it's always worth checking. Check out Sam's website. So next year.
Yeah, next year they're open for booking, so definitely, honestly, please do it. It's the best thing ever. You go to a secret location and you sit around the campfire. There we are. And you have some food that's prepared for you on the fire. You have a glass of wine or some cider, and Sam tells you all about the cultural history of the nightingale and about how it's so ingrained in who we are in terms of our poetry and our songs. And then he starts singing about, the folklores of the nightingale. It's the most beautiful thing. And as that happens, all the lanterns turn off, so you're in pitch darkness, and then you go off in search of a singing nightingale. And I can't remember the last time I heard one sing. And we were over the other side of a field, and it was about a quarter of a mile away, and I heard the song. I was so excited. I can't tell you, I had the biggest grin on my face. And then he was like, well, let's go closer. So we did, and I had a singing nightingale a meter above my head. I reckon if I reached my hand up, I probably could have touched it.
They're so loud.
They are so, honestly, they're about 100 decibels, just under 100 decibels, and my ears were just ringing. I could feel it in my eardrums. It was the most amazing thing.
We got any of that song?
We do. Yeah, let's have a little listen. Good.
Fantastic.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, do really try and book up Singing with Nightingales as the COVID restrictions have eased.
And also Sam's released a book as well.
Oh yeah, his Nightingale book's out.
Book.
So it's really good.
It's brilliant. Yeah, so have a little look at that.
Everything you need to know ecologically about the bird in terms of its conservation status at the moment, which is perilous really in many ways. And also, of course, Sam is really keen on the folklore, and there's loads of fabulous references to
amazing how they got
poetry,
their song and
music, all of those sorts of things. Yeah, it's a great book.
I think we should go for the quiz.
Yeah. Final quiz. You are. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to ask you what it is. Have a look at this. Wow.
It's quite unusual, isn't it? Oh, having a poo.
Yeah, well, it's had to, didn't it? Look at that. That is great, isn't it? Now, it's a UK species, or there are a group of UK species, actually, a small number of them that are out and about. So we'd like you to tell us what that is, finishing there with a really, really weird animal. Great story behind it. So if you think you know what that is, do send it in and we'll tell you what it is at the end of the broadcast. Right,
now on to our very favourite person. Lindsey Chapman is here to tell us a little bit about what you guys have been up to. So hello, Lindsey, how are you doing? It looks nice and sunny there. It was raining a minute ago.
Good morning to you both. Good morning to you all. Yep, I have taken a risk this morning, let's say. So I wanted to be outside for the final one, obviously. When I set up, it then started teeming down. So I've gaffer taped an umbrella to my desk here. I've got a spare umbrella at the side, but I'm going for it. The only problem is the wind has now picked up. So anything could happen, but who cares? It's the final one. Lovely to see you all. So many comments this morning. Helen Jenkins says, is it just me with a tear in my eye? I'm not crying, Helen, you're crying. We're all crying a little bit. People all over the country and abroad getting in touch as well. And Stephen Smeagol is wearing his SIBC t-shirt. Stephen, me too. And a bit of Eurovision chat on there as well. Just a quick side, did you watch Eurovision, both of you?
No.
No. I don't think
I can't say we did. Last night we were.
The last time I watched was the 1960s at gunpoint in my parents' lounge, Linz, to be honest with you.
Well, I tell you what, you've missed a real treat. Although I have to say, I'm very unsure about the winner, but carry on chatting about that. Yep, the stream's picked that up. Brilliant. Obviously, lots of things I want to talk to you about this morning. A big one is springtime nest, because we're back at that time of year. I love an interesting nest. I've been looking through the Facebook page, so many different comments on there this week as well. Just people passing greetings to each other and also sort of saying, oh, it's sad that it's finishing, but what great friendships we've made. So let's have a look at some of these springtime nests. I love this one. This is a satellite dish, and it has got a collared dove's nest in it. Can you see that there?
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
They're sweet, but they pick the most interesting places to nest. Some of these birds where they pick, I just think, oh, is that a good choice?
Yeah, you do have to kind of question their thinking there. I mean, was that the best spot around?
Well, it has the only downside from their point of view is they might be getting a great signal, but they don't have a screen. So
I was going to say they're getting Eurovision loud and clear, no problem there at all. Then I wanted to show you a long-tailed tit nest, and that's because these are just one of my favourite birds. I think they're ingenious in what they do and where they nest, in the way that they nest as well. So beautiful picture there from Brian Cooper. A nuthatch. Have a look at this one. This one came in from Gail Carroll. My umbrella has just shot off across the garden. Hopefully I won't need that. Beautiful bird again. And just, that's a good decision, isn't it? You know, there's a bit of camouflage there. Lovely nest.
Yeah, it looks like sturdy as well. So if a great spotted woodpecker was to come and have a little interest, have a little look in that, I mean, I think they'd struggle probably getting through that. It's quite a mature tree, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it seems like quite a good spot.
And they mud up the entrance, and that mud dries rock hard, which would slow the woodpecker up. And to be honest with you, nuthatches are quite robust, aren't they? They'll probably give a good push back.
Yeah, I always think of them as bandits because of their eye flash as well. You know, they've got it all going on. Let's have a look at an avocet, though. Couldn't not show you a beautiful avocet nest this morning from Nick BC. Thanks so much for putting that up on the page. Just really beautiful. And Alan Stewart, puffins. You were talking about Top Hill Low there. I know Top Hill Low really well, and Bempton Cliffs as well. One of my favourite places. Good for puffins if you want to see them this time of year, just near to their burrows. And again, I'm always amazed about how they nest and the way that they bring up their young.
Yeah, in the burrows, isn't it? And it's fantastic. You know, sometimes you get cameras. I know in Stoma and everywhere else they put cameras sometimes in those nests, and you get a real intimate look of, you know, puffins coming in and out of burrows,
feeding them on those sand hills. Yeah. And we think now that, well, we know that the beak of the puffin biofluoresces. So basically, although it's brightly patterned when we see it outside, when they go into the darkness of the burrow, parts of the beak, stripes on the side of that beak, actually glow in the dark, and they point towards the tip. And we think that this could be helping the young pufflings, as they're called in the nest, see in that total darkness where the adult's beak is, and the tip of it is obviously where the food is.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's a similar strategy with badgers, with the stripes along the face pointing to the jaws, which are really strong. So it's the same kind of concept. So, you know, ecologically it makes a lot of sense. Why not? So
puffins' beaks glow in the dark, and it helps them feed their young under the ground. You know,
makes me love them even more.
That's a gem, isn't it?
An absolute gem, and you know, a real reason to have these bad boys on here for sure. Couple of videos to show you this morning. Again, scrolling through the group, I really like this. This is juvenile starlings at a bird table, and I just wanted to highlight that you've done a wonderful job there. Got to say, Ralph Turner, very nice indeed. But also to keep feeding the birds at this time of year, because obviously they're collecting insects and various different things for their young, but you can sort of help them and supplement their diet a little bit. So I've got a couple of feeders behind me here, and water as well. Always like to say water at this time of year, please.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? It's good to see so many young starlings as well.
There's loads of activity going on there. It seems great. Great thing.
Absolutely the place to be. Have a look at this though, both of you. This has been sent in by Jenny Vickers, and it's a green longhorn moth. This footage is really fab, and she was filming away and she sort of sent the footage across to me and said basically the males lek to impress the females. So they dance or lek to impress the females, but they only do that in the sunshine. So every time the sun came out, they sort of shot out, and she had to film them really quickly. And then when the clouds came over, they sort of stopped what they're doing. Have you come across this before?
Yeah, I have. And sometimes if you're in the right spot, you can get like, I don't know, 50, 60, even maybe up to 100 of these males all together in a really tight cloud. And in that sunshine, they've got almost sort of iridescent wings and those long antennae. And when they're all flying and jostling together, it really is a great spectacle of spring, those moths. And you normally find them on the edges of woodlands, sometimes in those sunspots if you're walking along a path. But you won't miss them because they can gather in huge numbers. It really is a beautiful little spectacle.
Incredible antenna there as well, if you could see that in the footage, just a huge thing on top of your head. I always like to scale that up to humans and think, it's incredible what these creatures have. Someone said on the feed today, there's enough water around me already. Yes, it's rained a lot in Manchester in the last couple of days as well, but seriously, put water out for birds. It's really good. Let's take a look then at a couple of unique moments, because we are coming towards the end of our live broadcast together. I've absolutely loved it. Richard Pryor has sent in this picture. Look at this. I thought this was hilarious. Kate found this as well on the Facebook page, saying perhaps those mythical sites of witches on their broomsticks were in fact marsh harriers building their nests. And I like this because I actually think there's a bit of truth in that, in terms of myths and legends, what you were talking about with birdsong. You know, it's all interlinked, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it really does look like that, doesn't it? I haven't seen that photo before now. It's brilliant.
It is, yeah. I mean, quite a few of those raptors carry relatively large sticks. They normally break them off, so they'll fly up to trees and grab what they presume is a dead stick, which they can snap off. And I have also seen video clips where birds like ospreys have flown up to a dead branch, grabbed hold of it and tried to fly away, but it's been a little bit stronger than they bargained for, and then they're left hanging underneath it and it hasn't broken off. So they will pick them out of trees and sometimes off trees and carry them. But yeah, that's a great shot of a marsh harrier with, yes, as you say, quite a formidable broom beneath it.
Brilliant way to travel. Excellent stuff. Question for you both, though. This one has come in from Sian Roberts, and she says, I spotted this guy on a walk near Hebden Bridge. What kind of beetle is it? His jazzy blue knee-high boots really caught my eye.
Yeah, it's a species of dung beetle, likely to be a member of the Geotrapes group of beetles. Geotrapes. So if you look up that, Sian, you might find that you'll be able to identify it. It's not a single species, it's a species group. Now, you typically find them a lot in badger latrines at this time of year, because badgers are really active marking their territories with their poo. What's also interesting is that the badgers then go to latrines to deposit more poo, find the beetles that are eating their previous poo, eat the beetles, and they turn up in the next lot of poo. So there's a sort of a poo go round cycle there with some of these Geotrapes beetles. But yeah, they're beautiful animals. And if you gently pick one up and flip it over, beneath on the underside, they are equally as iridescent and splendid.
Stunning, isn't it? And we've spoken a lot about structural colour, you know, bringing back to one of the first episodes. I remember talking about structural colour on one of the first things of SIBC. So those beautiful electric blue legs are not electric blue whatsoever. It's all about how the light comes down and interacts with the kind of the molecules, or in fact the air kind of gaps in the exoskeleton there, and how these different wavelengths bounce back into our eye that creates that colour. It doesn't really exist. Blue and green are very expensive colours, and so that's why animals evolve iridescence, because rather than producing that pigment, they may as well just reflect it and give the illusion of it instead.
Absolutely fascinating. Thank you both very much. And just a side note, the poo go round has caused a sensation on the YouTube channel. Good use of poo go round on a Sunday morning. Excellent. I want to leave you with, well, I'm not going to leave you just yet, but the final picture I'm going to show you is from Vicky Stovall, and it's a beautiful morning at sunrise in Portsmouth. And I just thought, oh yeah, both of you are going to like that. No doubt there's some criticism there.
I won't get into the technical details of the photograph. I think it's one of those pictures that makes you wish you'd just been there, to be quite honest with you.
Exactly. Look at the lights
coming through the wings.
I mean,
is just
stunning. I mean,
wonderful.
It's just like a morning stretch, isn't it? When you get out of bed and you stretch your arms out, and it's like, you know, it's lovely.
It's absolutely beautiful. That's where I feel we started last year, just, you know, getting ready to go, getting out the water, and we've been flying with SIBC ever since. A real pleasure. Nick's been on. Thank you, Nick, for asking. He says, what are you doing next, Lindsay? Well, I've got to say, it's been an absolute pleasure working with Chris and Megan and Kate and Fabian as well, and all of you. The incredible things that you put on that Facebook page really is something. I am doing Costing the Earth next, actually, on Tuesday on Radio 4, so have a little listen to that. It's about reintroduction of beavers down in Devon. You should come and join me on my Instagram as well. One, I'm very funny, and two, I'm going to be doing a little bit more about sustainable clothing. So things like our incredible t-shirt. I'm going to do a live on how you can style this kind of thing, because I'm quite into the fashion side of things, but I want to do more to help the environment. So I am Lindsey Chapman presenter on Instagram. We're going to do some more stuff like that on my Twitter as well. I'm Lindsey_Chapman.
Linz, there is another side to your interest as well, because you're very keen on netball, and you do all of your netball commentaries as well, don't you?
I do, yeah. I'm a bit of a funny one, really. So I've played netball since I was 6 years old, and I'm the BBC's international netball commentator, and I commentate for Sky as well. So yeah, it's a total curveball for someone that loves the art and the natural world. But hey, let's just add netball to that as well. So obviously I'm playing at a very competitive level as well. I've never played for England though. People think I've played for England. I'm 5'4". Don't be ridiculous. And the final thing to say is that I'm hoping to get married. So both of you were fab when my wedding got cancelled last year, but I'm hoping to get married. So that's what's coming up for me next. What is coming up in terms of SIBC? Well, I just wanted to read out some comments really, because it's a legacy that we're leaving you with. And loads of you have been in touch. Absolutely wonderful stuff that's been said. So I just wanted to read a couple of these out. I went down a wormhole. Have you two looked at the comments? They are wonderful.
There's been a few. There's very many very kind comments on there, and people posting on Twitter as well this morning, as well as Facebook, saying some really nice things. So thank you for all of those.
Absolutely. Let me just tell you a couple of them before I sign off. So one from Janet Sylvia Bett. She says, big thank you to Chris, Megs and all the team. My husband Paul died last December, and it was your Sunday broadcasts and consequently wildlife watching enthusiasm that enhanced his last weeks of life. I thought that was really moving. Thank you for sending that in, Janet. Joan's been in touch, Joan Gardner. Thank you so much for this great group. It's been uplifting and helped us through a very odd time. There's been some wonderful posts from our members and great videos. I agree with that. I get all my stuff from the group. It's brilliant. Fran Thomas, thank you all, you wonderful admin, all the brilliant members who found sanctuary here, and a big thank you to the stars of the show, the birds and beasties. Leslie Lewis, unbelievable the amount that I've learned in the last year. A massive thank you to all. Just need to work on my camera skills. And Leslie had a picture which was supposed to be a grebe, but was in fact just a lake. So keep going there. Tim Holt says, looking forward to Springwatch, but we'll miss SIBC. I've encouraged my service users to watch, and many others have said how helpful it's been in coping with isolation and lack of contact with nature. So thank you very much. And finally, to Dory Drew, who put on the page, you can read it on the screen now. Thank you, SIBC. I now have a bird table that costs a fortune in seed and nuts. My grass is full of dandelions and also bees, growing veg, and I've turned into an environmental activist. What have you done to me? We've got you, Dory. We've absolutely got you, and we're delighted with that. It's been a real pleasure.
Excellent stuff.
That's so lovely. It's so moving. So thank you so much to everyone who wrote those comments and all the ones that are coming in. It's really humbling to read, actually, and it's such an amazing community, and so grateful to everyone for sticking with us and loving it as much as we've loved it.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute joy for me. Obviously, one of the big moments in SIBC was the discussion around my slippers. Well, kids, I'm outside today, so I'm wearing boots.
I was going to ask you, Lindsey.
See them.
I want to know what your slippers are. We all want to know what your slippers are, Lindsey.
The thing about a great broadcaster is always leave them wanting more.
All right.
Thanks
ever so much. Good luck with everything you're up to.
Yeah.
Costing the Earth on Tuesday, Radio 4. Catch up with Lindsey there, and stay tuned with her Instagram.
She is very funny.
Yeah, she is very funny. Actually.
Very funny.
Just saying it. She is very funny. And also, obviously, sustainable clothing is something we should all be aware of now. My New Year's resolution for 2019 was to not buy any more clothes, not to buy any clothes that year. And we're now almost halfway through 2020, and the pounds are still in my wallet. Yep.
Are they?
I've been doing very well, actually, not buying unnecessary clothes.
We don't need it, your wardrobe's, you've got enough clothes.
Well, I've got enough, and that's exactly right. I'm just going to wear them out for the rest of my life now, quite literally.
So your retro shirts are here to stay, are they?
I'm afraid they are.
Right.
I'm afraid they are.
Good.
Anyway, as you heard there, the stars of the show have undoubtedly been, what was it now? The birds, the beasties, and all of those wild things. And one person who's been bringing us those in beautiful detail is Matt Moran.
Matt Moran. Yeah, Matt Moran is, an absolute hero of ours. He's been out and about showcasing the wonderful wildlife in and around central London, and the foxes have taken kind of prime place in that, and we've been enjoying the updates as they've come. We've had a few updates throughout the course of the year about his foxes, and he's one of the most amazing filmmakers. He gets some incredible shots, so I'm really pleased for his final installment to be here now. So let's go over to Matt and hear about what's been going on with his fox family.
What a journey it's been over the past year. and I've witnessed some of the most incredible encounters with this family of foxes. I've seen cubs coming out of the den for the first time, nursing from the vixen. Then as they get a little bit older, exploring their new territory. And as they get even more confident, fighting with their siblings. And I've been running around the allotment trying to document it all, hiding my camera in a box to try and get up close and personal portraits of these foxes. I've been involved in rescuing sick and injured cubs. And then at nighttime, filming under the cover of darkness, watching them scrapping on the greens and using cars as lookout posts. What a joy it has been. And what about this year? I mean, really, these films have been centered around one vixen, this incredible fox who last year had her 4th litter of cubs. And it looked like she was denning in the same place as last year. And then there was this new dog fox that appeared. I picked him up on my trail camera and he was spending many hours day and night guarding the entrance to the den. And then all of a sudden, nothing. I read that vixens will often have a backup den, somewhere safe to move their cubs if they sense danger. But where had they gone? There was no sign of them. And then one day in late March, I saw the vixen and the dog fox hanging out together. And it was clear from her underside that she'd been nursing. But where were they? Where were these cubs that I was so desperate to film? I spent many hours searching, and then one afternoon, I saw this dog fox on top of a shed. And he was spending a lot of time looking down below, but I couldn't quite see into the garden. And that's when I met Naomi, who very kindly gave me access to film the foxes.
It started in the winter. It was snowy, and the dad used to sleep up on the top of the fence, and the mum used to sleep down here. But I didn't realise they were burrowing, and then the mum would start to dig holes, but I was actually naive and didn't know that that was the beginning stages of nesting. Before you know it, I had a garden full of little pups.
And what's more, Naomi and her neighbours, Melissa and David, cut a hole between the fence, much like you would for a hedgehog.
As soon as David knew, that was it. Oh my God. And then he was jealous. He was like, can we do a hole in the fence? He's like, I want them to come in my garden too.
I asked Naomi why she thought it was important that we share space with foxes and other wildlife.
If they're comfortable here and she can rear them and have 6 healthy cubs and I can help to contribute towards that, why wouldn't I do that?
I love hearing about these kind of stories. People not only accepting but also embracing having wildlife live alongside them. After all, foxes and other wildlife are our neighbours. We may not love all of our neighbours, but we have to learn to share our limited space. And in my mission to champion urban wildlife, Naomi's story is one that we can all learn from. And what about the vixen? Well, I used to say that every time I see her, I was fearing that that was going to be the last, but that's just doing her a disservice. She's already left an incredible legacy and continues to defy the odds. And it wasn't long before I saw the first cubs appear from underneath the shed and scramble out full of joy and excitement to see their mum. I also wanted to say a big thanks to Megan and Chris and Kate and Fabian working tirelessly behind the scenes to provide us with these incredible shows throughout the pandemic, and what a platform it's been to share these stories. So thank you very much.
Those ears, those little faces.
So beautiful.
Oh, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? Thank you so much, Matt, for that. What a beautiful final.
Absolutely brilliant. Not only is he a brilliant photographer, he's taken some amazing photographs, great filmmaker, and he's also a really, really nice bloke.
He's the nicest guy.
Really nice bloke.
Lovely.
You can follow Matt Moran on Twitter. He's Matt Moran. That's MATT MARAN. MATMORAN photo, Matt Moran photo, and on Instagram he's Matt Moran photo as well. He's also got a book about foxes coming out.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Which he's working on. Can't tell you exactly when it's coming, but it's in production, as it were. So do look out for Matt's book. Lots of brilliant photographs and lots of information about people living alongside foxes and their views and ideas about foxes and living with them. So yeah, interesting stuff. And Matt, we can't say thank you enough for all of your hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great, isn't it? Now, another thing that's been great is CJ7. We've loved her, haven't we?
We did. CJ7. Birds of Poole Harbour, of course, are reintroducing ospreys to the south of England, and all of our eyes were glued on their wildlife cam last year when CJ7, the female bird, returned to the nest, and we were all in anticipation of her male coming back.
Waiting for a boy,
the boy didn't turn up. But
she laid an egg. It was unfertilized. Yeah. And then we were waiting for this year.
So to give us now a catch up is Paul Morton from Birds of Poole Harbour, and he's going to be telling us a bit about that project and what's going on at the moment, more pertinently. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Right, so big question then. What bring us all up to date for those who haven't been following you as diligent as they should have on social media and your platforms. Tell us what's happened this year with CJ7.
Oh, we have her live.
Hold on. Paul, before you start,
returned.
she's just turned up on the Nest platform.
What a legend.
Oh, wow, what about
Perfect,
that?
just on cue. It never...
No! Oh, yes!
Oh, my word. I don't need to explain anything.
No way! Did that just happen?
Oh, wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Paul Morton, follow that. Dude,
unbelievable. What a finale. I don't need to explain anything, do I?
Well, I think you should fill us in as to what's going on, other than, what was just going on. But yeah, so bring us up to date, because she came back earlier in the year, as she did last year. But then tell us what's happened and what's led to that moment we've just watched.
So we were kind of hoping and anticipating for her safe return this spring, and she did, which was wonderful. She turned up on the 1st of April. And as we know, a lot of your viewers were watching and waiting last year for her mate that she'd met the previous year, LS7, to return. He never did. So she spent a very long, lonely summer last summer, kind of bonding with the nest, and eventually left in the August, and we're kind of left waiting to see if she returns. Anyway, she came back this year, but this year we were expecting some of the males that we'd released in 2019 as part of the translocation project. It was this year we were expecting some of those back, and look at that, amazing. And so we've been waiting and waiting. Now they're the 2-year-old ospreys, which is how old those those birds are. They don't tend to turn up until later in the spring, about kind of May, June time. So it was about now that we were waiting for one to turn up. And anyway, we've got these trail cameras set up around the harbour on other nest platforms. And on Tuesday morning, we got a notification from one of these trail cameras on a different nest platform, actually, not the one you've just seen just now. And 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 ospreys on one of these nest platforms, and we could see that they both had blue leg rings, and we assumed one was going to be CJ7. The trouble is, when you get these photos through, they don't come through as HD initially, so you can't see straight away who the other bird is. You have to wait another 2 hours for the HD image to come through. It was killing us. We had to wait for 2 hours to find out who this mystery bird was. And then bang on 9 o'clock on Tuesday, we got the HD image through, and it said 022, which was one of our males from the project. And so, within kind of half an hour of him arriving into the harbour, CJ7 literally pounced on him, and they've been inseparable ever since. And it's just been amazing, absolutely amazing. And the truth is, we can kind of make an educated guess as to what might happen, but we don't know. So it's a really exciting. This next 2 weeks is going to be really, really exciting as to how things pan out.
Yeah. Well, they've clearly bonded, and more than that. Has she been laying any eggs already? Because he did arrive quite light. Did it get to the point where she was laying, as she did last year, those unfertilized eggs?
Yeah, so this is the big question mark. So she has already this season, like she did last year, she has now already laid 5 unfertilized eggs this season. They all got taken by ravens. You can see some footage there. So the nest was empty when 022 returned. But the truth is, it's the set of circumstances that have presented themselves which actually still mean it could be possible. So there's been one other incident in the UK where I think it was a Welsh nest several years ago, where a female was waiting for her mate to turn up. He never did, but she laid several unfertilized eggs. Then a male did turn up a little while later. I think it was about the 3rd or 4th of May. They mated, and that female then laid another 2 eggs on the 28th of May, I think it was, that year, and successfully reared young. So although CJ7 has laid 5 unfertilized eggs this season, it's just whether he has arrived in time to catch her in kind of still peak breeding condition. I mean, now anyone that's been watching the camera over this last week, they've been mating a lot, CJ7 and 022. They've just kind of been at each other's sides constantly. So I don't know, if we see some eggs being laid at the end of this week or next weekend, then it could be a completely different ball game, and we could be quids in.
It's just a question of whether she's got the physical, capacity to lay those eggs, because an egg laying process, even for a large bird like an osprey, is extraordinarily sort of energetically expensive. If she's laid 5 already, which would be larger than a typical clutch.
Yeah, it's normally 2 or 3 a typical clutch. So
so she just needs enough body reserves left to lay a couple of eggs and for them to be fertilized. And I mean, again, a young male like that, I mean, he's trying very hard, as we've seen already. It's whether he's actually making it count, and inexperience is quite common in these birds. But
that's the thing. I mean, he's only 2. He's turned up. He's never done this before, but he's got a female with a pre-made nest. CJ7's built the nest this spring. He thinks she's in breeding condition, and she's definitely kind of into him. But it's even if they do lay eggs and some chicks hatch, it's an outside chance, but it could happen. It's also whether he is able to provision enough for the youngsters, because he hasn't got the experience, and there is a big learning journey for these ospreys to get to the point where they're able to successfully raise a family, year in, year out. But to be honest, regardless of the outcome, the fact that he is back and we're seeing what we're seeing, that is the most crucial part of this project, because even if they don't breed this year, as long as his safe return is kind of booked in for next year, then, chances are it's going to happen next year instead. So we're not going to get overexcited, but it's living fantastic to see.
Yeah. It's a step in the right direction, isn't it? It's progress. And, last year was massive progress when she turned up and was laying those eggs. And now this year, the fact that they're together and mating and bonding like this, I mean, next year, I'm feeling pretty hopeful. Surely next year is the year, but if not this year, which is incredibly exciting.
And given the constraints of that COVID has put on people moving around, are you still able to be, releasing more birds this year?
Yeah. So the project's kickstarting again. So fingers crossed, all being well, we'll translocate another 12 juveniles this summer, and then 12 next summer, and actually then 12 the following summer. So it's still quite a long way of part of the process to go. But we're in a really, really good place now. I'll just tell you, one of the most magical things of this whole situation this week was when he turned up on Tuesday morning. I shot straight down to the harbour because we didn't know who this bird was or where they were, and they weren't on the camera. And I went to one of the viewpoints in Poole Harbour that gives you a really good vista out of over an area called the Wareham Channel. And I was waiting, no sign of them. All of a sudden, over Arn Nature Reserve, saw these 2 ospreys lifting, and I thought, oh, brilliant, they're still together. And they started following each other, and out of nowhere, the lead bird, which we now know to be 022, went into full display mode. And no one's seen that in southern Britain for a couple of 100 years. He was super high over the Wareham Channel, dropping down, legs dangling, bombing up and down. And it kind of almost brought me to tears. I was like, I cannot believe we're seeing this. And that was it within like an hour of him arriving into the harbour. And that was really, really magical. And then about an hour later, they turned up on the webcam, and the rest's history at the moment.
Oh, incredible. Amazing. I mean, all your hard work and all your efforts, and then to be able to see that, it must have been the most incredible experience to know that everything you've done is turning out to be such a success. Yeah,
so it's getting there. But so I just encourage everyone to watch the webcam over the next week or 2. I mean, if they don't successfully raise a clutch this year, they will stay together until the end of the summer. they'll just continue building the bond, and they'll probably then both leave, I should imagine, end of August, early September. And then it's just, the waiting game until next spring. But everyone just continue watching the webcam, because like I said, this next...
How do they find it, Paul? How do they follow you on your various platforms?
Yeah, so birdsofpoolharbour.co.uk. When you go onto the website, the main banner is the webcam link. You can just click through to it there. And on Twitter, we are at Harbour Birds. So is that live again?
There we go again. So really having a good time, aren't they?
Oh my goodness me.
You couldn't have timed that any better.
Amazing.
This is history. This hasn't been seen in Southern Britain for 200 years. So this is just so amazing to be able to share it with so many people.
Yeah.
And the other great thing was as well as the ospreys, we had our first nightjar on the nest cam last night, which is always good fun.
Excellent.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Paul, listen, on behalf of ourselves, our team, and all of our members of the SI Bird Club, just top work. Top work. Please pass on our congratulations and admirations to all of your team for the work that you're doing down there in Poole Harbour to bring these birds back. It is one of the most exciting conservation projects in the UK at the moment, as we've seen this morning.
Exactly.
It's working.
Yeah, and thank you so much for letting us share it on SIBC and letting us fall in love with CJ7, because I don't know, I absolutely adore her, as many people do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you very much, and well done to you guys as well. You've really provided a very, very important service over the last year. So yeah, thanks for everything, and I know it means a lot to a lot of people. So yeah, brilliant work.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, cheers. Have a great day.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to be doing. watching that webcam.
I would be. I am. I will be.
Fantastic.
Oh,
yeah.
thanks,
So
Paul.
follow Birds of Poole Harbour on those platforms, and let's see. Wouldn't it be? I mean, it's touch and go. I mean, it's an outside chance that she's got enough body reserves to lay a couple more eggs. But if she's eating lots of fish, maybe she's just got the energy there.
They're looking good. I mean, weirder things have happened.
I know.
Why not?
And if not this year, then next.
Yeah, exactly. It's all positive and what a way. We followed CJ7 all the way through. What a way to end on the last episode. Like, seriously,
live osprey mating in the south of England.
I mean, honestly, that's just brilliant.
Come on.
Anyway, from one SIBC icon to another, we're going to go and catch up with Indy Green, who's been exploring part of his local patch, Sherwood Forest. And I have to say, it's a beautiful area, some great insect activity that he's been able to capture. So let's take it away with Indy.
Hello, my name is Indy, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of this precious, wonderfully exciting heathland, nestled right on the edge of the magical Sherwood Forest. The heathland has a rich diversity of wildlife, and through working here as a volunteer, I'm always amazed as to what I discover. Tree pipits are such joyous birds to watch. They are a small brown ground nesting bird that migrate here all the way from Africa. Their display flight is awesome to watch. They launch themselves way up into the sky before elegantly parachuting down with their legs dangling. It's so cool to watch. From beauty in the sky to terror on the ground, there's been a murder on the heath.
The culprit? A black-banded spider wasp. Now this isn't for the faint-hearted. Spiders are well known for dishing it out on captured prey in their webs. Here, the tables have turned. The spider wasp, upon capturing a spider, injects it with venom. This paralyses the spider. The wasp then proceeds to dig a shallow burrow to stash its victim. The wasp then carries the defenceless spider into the burrow. Once inside the burrow, the wasp will lay its eggs upon the still living spider. After hatching, the wasp larvae will feed on the spider. As life cycles go, this is pretty extraordinary. With the stillness of the evening approaching, 4 young dozy fox cubs make their way out from the comfort of their den. From birth, the mother will stay with her cubs by the den for around 3 weeks. The mother will continue to provide milk until the cubs are 8 weeks old. The The majestic cuckoo song can be heard echoing through the trees. The seldomly seen woodcock takes to the sky, the male honking and squeaking as he circles over his territory.
Stepping from the forest and out onto the heath is like entering two different worlds. Such diverse landscapes offering such different treasures.
Woodcock, roding woodcock, come on.
Indy's got such a good patch. I'm so envious of Indy's patch.
He's got some good birds. He's got goshawks, got woodcock there. Yeah. Sherwood Forest is, I don't know Sherwood Forest terribly well. I've been there a few times, obviously. Yeah. Always working, so never really
maybe Indy will show us
We
around.
Should do it, yeah.
We should go and see Indy.
If you know, are we allowed to go there now? I think we are, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we can. Yeah. You can get up 30 people, can't you? Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. We'll double check, but yeah.
Right,
Maybe we'll organise it.
Indy, we need a tour. We need a tour.
We need a tour. We need a good guide.
Indy Green, great young naturalist, budding broadcaster extraordinaire, top birder, of course, doing really great things as well, spreading the word of conservation.
An amazing presenter, I have to say. He's going to give you a run for your money.
I'm very pleased. I'm really pleased about that. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Very good.
Encouraging your replacements, and Indy's certainly off to a great start. So you can follow him on Twitter at Green Indy. So that's Green with an E and then INDY, and on Instagram he's Green Indy at Green Indy. So follow him. He's puts out a lot of good stuff. And as I say, a very keen conservationist as well. Doesn't shy away from some of the more controversial subjects that definitely need airing. That's really good. Hey, what about the quiz? Then?
Well, lots of people got it right, I have to say.
Did they?
Well I thought it'd be tough.
I thought that would be tough. Go on then. Who got it?
So we've got to say well done to Helen, Mary, Debs, Linda, Sheila, Michelle, Simon, Anne, Peter, Roz, Matt, Peter, Lorraine, Leslie, Mary, Johnny, Linda, Tiana, and Liz.
Top work.
Well done, everyone.
And also to Luke Phillips, who took the little clip. And here it is again. Let's see that little clip. It's a remarkable organism. This is the larvae, right? The larvae of an oil beetle. Now, what is really fascinating about the larvae of the
It's a bloody nose
beetle.
Bloody
nose beetle.
It's an oil beetle.
Well, sorry, what was I?
It's an oil beetle. It's a bloody nose beetle.
Well, that was because it's got excuse me, I was about to say a bloody arse. But yes, bloody nose beetles. What's fascinating about bloody nose beetles is that they have bloody noses.
They do, yes.
So when they're antagonized, they secrete. I mean, that one did it anally, probably because it's a larvae. But as an adult, they secrete a glob of blood-coloured liquid, which they regurgitate from their guts, which has a bitter taste. So
I saw one the other day. Well, I was up when I was walking the Jurassic Coast, but last month I picked one up and it did that. I didn't lick it though.
No.
The bitter taste.
You did not?
I didn't.
Well, you should have exercised your curiosity a little bit more.
But I didn't. Yeah.
And they love that. They love those dry, open, chalky environments. We certainly see them on the downland in the south of England. They're robust. The adults are very round, almost spherical, with beautiful legs.
They've got lots of iridescence as well.
Yeah,
different colours. They're very beautiful as adults.
Bloody
but larvae are cool.
Bloody
quite a plump larvae, wasn't it?
Beetle. Yeah. Oil beetles are great as well. I mean, their larvae are equally interesting in the sense that they climb up on top of flowers and then they wait for solitary bees to come and they've got special claws. This is not bloody nose beetles, this is oil beetles, but I'm just being distracted. No,
your mind went to oil beetle, now you've got to return there.
Anyway, so I've gone back to those oil beetles. Anyway, they've got these little claws, the larvae, and they climb onto the flowers. When the bees come to get the nectar, they grab hold of the bee's legs and they go back to the solitary bee's nest where they eat its eggs and the pollen of those bees. So they're a parasite. And then they grow to maturity inside the solitary bee's nest.
Good, isn't it?
What about that?
Yeah, that's cool life history. Strategy. I like that.
Our beetles, I think, one of the most successful groups of probably the most successful group of animals on the planet. You need to get into beetles, the coleoptera.
I love a beetle.
Yeah.
I'm very into beetles.
Okay.
I'm also into birthdays.
Go on then.
I love a birthday.
Last lot of birthdays.
I love a birthday.
Over to you.
We've got quite a few birthdays to get through, and it's a celebration. It's time for fun, right? So today, Gary wrote in to tell us that Kate from Guernsey is celebrating her birthday. So very happy birthday to you, Kate. We've got Andy Orth is 50 today, and this was from Sam. So very happy birthday to you, Andy. Next week, Tolly is turning 8 years old on the 31st of May. Tolly came home from school with a book about creepy crawlies. When Tolly got into the page about slugs, unfortunately said that they were the P word. They said they were pests. That's not good. We don't like that book very much. We don't like the book. We don't like the word very much when it says pests. But she said, I love her response to it. Slugs aren't pests. They're actually really important to the health of your garden, and their slime trails are a sort of glue that helps hold the soil together.
Fantastic
I like
stuff.
that. Some ecological relevance. I love slugs. They're really cool.
Everything's
really cool
playing its role. None of them were P.
No, a P word. No, it's the rudest word in the English language.
Apart from the V word. The V word is even worse.
V word is bad.
V word.
Yes.
Never used that.
No, we don't use that one. Anyway, Jackie wrote in for her husband, Chris, who is 49 on the 31st of May. So very happy birthday to you, Chris. We've got Nikki Campana, whose birthday is on the 27th. Chris, thank you for her ichthyosaur coprolites.
Oh, she sent me some ichthyosaur coprolites.
Yes.
I don't have them yet, actually, Nikki, but we're in the process of trying to find out where they are, because fossilized poo is right up my street.
You love a bit of fossilized poo.
Fossilized poo, they'll be taking pride of place in my extensive collection of excrement.
Yeah, it is extensive. Honestly, it needs its own room in your house.
Yeah.
Also, Jenny Wren's birthday is at the beginning of June. She'll be 53, so very happy birthday to you, Jenny. Clive wrote in to wish Stella a very happy birthday, 63rd for tomorrow. So happy birthday to you, Stella. Laura wrote in for her husband, Christopher Lindsay, who is 60 tomorrow. Happy birthday to you, Christopher. A couple of belateds as well. It's everybody's birthday. I love a party. I hope everyone's having a party.
There's so many birthdays.
30 people you're allowed now. A bit of a soiree. Anyway, belated birthdays. Maddie wants to wish her mum, Sue Clayton, a very happy birthday. So very happy birthday to you, Sue. Rob wanted to wish his wife, Alison, a very happy belated birthday. So
and very belated. So I mean, hold on, Rob. I mean, when was it? Last October or something?
Yeah, did you forget? What happened?
I need more to
this story. And Alison, what happened? What happened when he forgot your birthday? Oh dear. Very happy birthday to you, Alison. Hope you had a good birthday. Daniel wrote in for his friend Kerry, whose birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday to you, Kerry. Bridget's husband, Dave Preston, was 75 is 75 on Tuesday, the 18th of May. Happy birthday to you, Dave. They've both watched SIBC since the start. 91 episodes. 91 hours of your life on SIBC.
Well, more than hours. We've gone over already. I think we're probably we're about 5 minutes over already.
Yeah, we go over a lot, don't we? It's probably a good 200 hours by the time we stop chatting. We've got Freddie Pittman's 8th birthday was on the 16th of May. Happy birthday to you, Freddie. Michael Wood was 44 last Monday. Very happy birthday to you, Michael, and that's from your wife, Catherine. So happy birthday. Peter wrote in for his wife, Gaynor Griffin. Happy birthday from Peter, Joel, and Lilia. Brian wrote in for his wife, Val, whose birthday was last week, with a special mention that being wildlife, in the words of Jane Goodall on our Good Ask last year, it's also beautiful. That doesn't make any sense what I said, did it? Rambled then. Yeah. We've got a word mix up with a special mention that it was also beautiful. Her birthday. I see. So that's good.
Okay.
Very happy. Beautiful birthdays. I love it. So happy birthday to everyone. Thank you for celebrating with us and sending us in all of your comments.
Okay. And you may remember that obviously earlier in the year, or even at the end of last year, we did some SIBC calendars, and we pledged to give some of that money to charity. £2,500 was what we managed to accrue to give to those charities. We had a little poll over the last few days, and the charities that you've voted for to receive £500 each, actually there are 5 of them, are Heart Wildlife Rescue, do brilliant work of course, South Essex Wildlife Hospital, Bat Rehabilitation Ireland, top work for that, Secret World Wildlife Rescue, again is someone we know really well down in Somerset, and the Hawke Conservancy. So we'll be sending £500 to all of those charities. Thank you for buying the calendars and allowing us to pass that money on. Group member, much loved of course, Marion Veal, now has her book out.
Yes.
Top work, Marion. It's all about Vix the Fox, of course.
The one and only. And
look at that.
How beautiful.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Look at that little, it captures, perfectly, doesn't it? The look of the fox.
Yeah, that's really brilliant. And you can pre-order that with the link that's in the chat. So if you've been a fan of SIBC, you will have been a fan of Marion and Vix. Of course, we were lucky she came on once and told us all about the relationship with Vix, that she nursed back to health and became a complete star that saw her through some very difficult times.
Thank you, Marion, for sharing Vix with us.
And then look, we must remind you about the pin badges. Here they are. Look, here's the pin badge here. Look like that. So you can order those at sibird.club/pin badge. Or on my puffin's a bit skewed.
Oh, it's upside down.
No,
there we go.
There we are. Okay. My puffin's a bit skewed. £3.20, and we'll get them out when we've got all of the orders in.
Yeah.
At some stage in the near future. They're good quality, actually.
They're really nice. I really like mine.
Yeah, they're pretty good quality. Yeah. They're sort of laminated and shiny.
I might put it on my hat, actually. Oh, here's a close up. Look at that.
Oh, there we are. Look, there we are.
Yeah,
perfect. Pretty good quality, I'd say.
Very good quality. But of course, the other thing that we would love you to do is please do keep in contact with us. We know that SIBC broadcasts are coming to an end. However, we still want to keep the conversation going, and Chris and I really aren't going anywhere. We're just changing the mission statement a little bit, and to keep up to date with that mission, we need your help, and we need you to be able to get in contact with us and us to be able to get in contact with you. So please join our mailing list, which is peopleforwild.life. All information will be in the comments and chat. It's really simple. Just please fill it out, and it allows us to keep this community alive, which is what we want.
Yeah, so, indeed. Okay, last couple of things then to do. Firstly, thanks to Dina, who's been helping with admin over the last few months. Without her, we wouldn't have been able to stay up with all of the work that we've been doing. Obviously, behind the scenes, Kate Crocker and Fabian Howson have been a very key part of the team.
Well, they've been, the key parts of the team. The key parts of the team. Kate's been keeping up to date with everything on the Facebook group, keeping up to date with all your comments, messages,
contacting everyone
organising it all.
All
helping in the production. She's just honestly been such a a force for SIBC. She's loved it from the start and really kind of driven it. And
technically, of course, Fabian's just made the whole thing possible.
He's
started off with me just posting 20 seconds on Twitter about a celandine.
Shaky and
Fabian rang me. I remember that morning he rang me up. I was sat down at the back of the farmhouse on the table, and he said, I've just seen that thing that you did on Twitter about the celandines, I think it was. He said, I've got an idea. I think we can do something a bit more with this. And I said, well, go on then, tell me, because Fabian knows of all these things, of course. And that was basically how it started. It was through his technical expertise
so
to be able to offer what we were doing to a wider number of people on a range of different platforms.
And he's worked incredibly hard, I have to say. He's always up to the very early hours of the morning, editing, putting this together, sorting out running orders, making sure that Chris and I are...
That's okay.
But still, I know, but he has to look after us, which is a nightmare. He has to keep us in check, which is tricky. But honestly, it wouldn't have been possible without Fabian and Kate. So to both of them, thank you. And of course, thank you to Lindsey as well for coming on throughout the course and everything. It's been a great team.
And before we play you out with so many of the people who have contributed, we can't possibly thank them all, because 91 episodes, more than 91 hours, means that we've been dependent on a lot of help from a lot of people, not just in the UK, but all around the world. And they've always given generously of their time, free of charge, of course. The whole thing has been an enormous charitable venture. So we thank all of those people. A couple of very last minute things. Firstly, last minute book. I've been reading this one. So I had a little read last night. It's called Gone by Michael Blenko. Gone by Michael Blenko. It's all about extinct animals, actually. I mentioned it a little bit before. I've now had the chance to read it. Great auk, spectacled cormorant, Steller sea cow, the Pinter Island tortoise, so on and so forth. It's really, really well written.
Is it?
Yeah. The guy can really write. I mean, I mean, he can
really write.
Yes, no, but he can really write. Yes, no, it's seriously really, really well written. I've really enjoyed that. And then last of last, we were campaigning, weren't we, to raise some money for butterfly conservation, because the caterpillar cake wars were taking place a few weeks ago, where there was some disagreement between our leading supermarkets, and we were very pleased to announce that Iceland had come up with a butterfly cake, and they were giving all of the profits of that butterfly cake to butterfly conservation. Well, following that, just to conclude our small role in the caterpillar cake wars, we've got this cake here from the Just Love Food Company. It's a new type of caterpillar cake. You can see it there. And I'm very pleased to say that it is vegan. It's vegan, nut-free, peanut-free, milk-free, egg-free. So it's
palm-free.
Yep. Yeah, it's perfect for people who've got any of those allergies or food needs. And there it is. It's a new type of caterpillar cake. So we got in touch with them and we said, hey, we love your cake. We love the whole idea of the cake. Is there any chance that you might join Iceland in supporting their conservation endeavours with butterfly conservation? And they've said yes. And they're in touch with Butterfly Conservation and they will be helping out.
They will be.
So top work. And you can get those online, of course. Just Love Food Company, Archie the Caterpillar Cake. And I think he's only got minutes to live because as soon as we finish,
he's going to be demolished.
We've had no breakfast, and I think Archie the Caterpillar Cake.
I feel a little bit peckish. In fact, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll be diving into we can't do an SIBC without lentil chips.
And thanks to the people who did actually from Eat Real send us some lentil chips.
But most of all, thank you to every single one of you who have tuned in throughout the course of 91 hours, if not more. It's been a real journey, and I'm so grateful to the community and everyone. And what an amazing thing it's been.
Yeah, it is, and I think we've got some celebratory, some help to help us celebrate here.
Wings.
Yeah, come on, because we're back. So some friends of ours who have been joining us this weekend at Wakelands, and of course the owners of Wakelands themselves, were keen to help us celebrate the end of SIBC. So thank you very much indeed.
That brilliant conga line. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Okay, and it's for me.
Yeah, and me. I think it's a goodbye. We're going to leave you with the final montage of lots of people that have been key to SIBC. So one last time from us, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time.
See you later. Bye.
In March 2020, everything changed.
COVID meant that we were unable to see our loved ones or connect with each other.
The South Isolating Bird Club was born.
And we broadcasted every day.
We united around the commonality and a shared passion for wildlife.
Bringing wildlife and nature to the masses.
Creating a community.
Supporting each other through difficult times.
People who hadn't noticed nature were suddenly connecting with their environment.
There were quizzes on everything from poo to skulls to feathers.
We've had lessons in birdsong.
Hello everyone, it's Lucy Lackman here.
And practical tips on making our gardens and green spaces home to many creatures.
Foxes frolicked in urban London.
Nightjars cheered.
There was gentle referencing.
We went global.
With live guests joining us from all around the world.
Showcasing their wildlife for all to see.
Birds, bats, butterflies.
Insects, amphibians and mammals.
And loads of experts in their field sharing their knowledge.
Birds hatched and fledged on the myriad of live cameras.
And we saw birds from all over the world.
We had live Goshawk releases.
And followed the heartbreakingly romantic story of CJ7.
We had photography.
We had art.
We had nature books.
Slow-mo poodles danced to Fabian's excellently composed music.
And we even had some dad dancing.
Come rain, shine, internet issues, we broadcasted.
We built a community.
of passionate people who care for nature.
So come along with us, sign up to our mailing list
and continue in the fight to save our wildlife.